military and the rest of the government. We are accustomed to the notion of subordination and have successfully maintained that. It's an issue, because if all the citizens are the soldiers, there's not an issue, right? If you have a citizen soldiery. But when you have something like the Roman Empire, where a very small portion of the populace is under arms in order to fight at the borders and maintain sufficient order in Rome, that becomes a separate group, and that is the basis of, that is the arcanum imperii. The secret of imperial rule is that in spite of the forms, which are not without importance, but they're not of fundamental importance, in spite of those forms, the basis of the regime is military power. Control of the military is what is above all crucial. And you see that most of the figures in, the knowledgeable political figures in Tacitus's history are fully aware of that. I mean, as I say, once it comes to Galba, you have to be very stupid not to be aware of it. But earlier, it's covered over and it's hidden. It makes a difference for support of the regime and contentment with the regime that some of these other forms be there, but the essence of the regime is indeed a military despotism. The special, I'm running out of time, so I'll just end with this reflection. The special problems of that kind of regime are analyzed, told at great length throughout Tacitus's histories, in the histories and the annals. And if you want a very brief analysis of it, chapter 19 of Machiavelli's Prince is a brief analysis of the same problem. He takes up later than Tacitus. He deals with Marcus Aurelius down to Maximinus, I think, the next 10 emperors. It's later than Tacitus, but it's done very much in a Tacitean spirit and very much under the influence of Tacitus's analysis. Machiavelli quotes Tacitus once in the Prince in an absolutely crucial place, namely that the basic reliance, if you were to have power, your basic reliance has to be on your own forces. Nothing is so unstable in human affairs as a reputation for power not supported by its own force. This he quotes from Tacitus, the one quote from Tacitus in the Prince. Okay, let me end there and entertain questions. Yeah.
I have a question. You made a suggestion that the Republic could not be reconstructed, but it seems to me that you make at the end exactly the opposite case. That is Agricola that decided to not walk in at night, but walk in with the troops. And he had that particular predilection, which seems to be the case. Then you could have had a republic by acting.
Well, I don't think so, because it's not sufficient for one person to conquer another for Republican institutions to work. You know, I mean, he would replace himself as ruler in place of Domitian and overthrow him. But would it be possible to reconstitute the republic? I think Tacitus's judgment is that after, in the last days of the republic, you had 100 years of fighting for power with no general concern for the common good. Tacitus, Cicero was a great supporter of Pompeius Magnus, Pompey the Great. Tacitus says famously of Pompey the Great, in a brief history of the Civil War, he was occultior non melior. He was more hidden but no better. Right? In other words, each of these people was and he says after that there was no contest for anything except who would have the chief power. So Tacitus there believes that the kind of republicanism that had been in Rome before was definitively lost, I think, really by partway into, I mean, before it was evident. By the time, I mean, he seems to say Marius, Sulla, etc. From then on, it's not restorable. Yeah, sure. No, I mean, Machiavelli would recommend, I mean, for Machiavelli, the best thing for Agricola to do would be go conquer. I don't think Machiavelli would necessarily think you could institute a republic then either, but you'd have a better emperor. Right? You could put an end to the mission sooner, which would have been better for all concerned. So that might have been a better outcome. But I don't think on Tacitean grounds you could argue that Republican restoration is possible. Yeah.
Which do you think is the bigger problem for returning to the Republic? Is it that the scope of the empire is now so large that, you know, the army can't, the virtue of the army is enough to sustain it? Or is it that the army is professional and that they can make emperors?
Well, those are